Prepare to be shocked. These battles aren't just pages in history. They are the bloodiest confrontations ever witnessed, with casualty numbers so staggering, they will leave you speechless. Stay tuned as we uncover the top 12 battles with the highest casualties. You won't believe the devastation. Welcome back to the channel. If you're passionate about history and military events, you're in the right place. Today, we're diving into some of the most catastrophic battles in history. These confrontations changed the course of nations and left indelible marks on the world. But before we get started, make sure to hit that subscribe button and click the bell icon so you never miss an episode. Ready to explore the most devastating battles ever recorded? Let's get into it. War has been a constant throughout human history, shaping civilizations, borders, and cultures. The scale and impact of battles have varied widely, but some have stood out due to their sheer scale of destruction and loss of life. The causes of these battles range from territorial disputes to ideological clashes, and their outcomes have often dictated the future course of nations. Understanding the magnitude of these battles requires not just a look at the numbers but also a comprehension of the contexts in which they occurred. The tactics employed, the leaders who commanded, and the soldiers who fought all played critical roles. These battles also highlight the technological advancements of their times, from the phalanxes of ancient Greece to the mechanized warfare of the 20th century. So, what makes a battle deadly? Is it the number of troops involved, the strategies employed, or the length of the conflict? It's often a combination of these factors, coupled with the harsh realities of war, disease, starvation, and the brutality of combat. Today, we'll explore the top 12 battles that resulted in the highest casualties, giving you an in-depth look at the horrors of war and the resilience of those who endured it. Without further ado, let's dive in. 1. Battle of Stalingrad, 1942-1943. The Battle of Stalingrad stands as one of the most ferocious confrontations of World War II, a colossal clash that saw nearly 2 million casualties. This brutal urban warfare turned the city of Stalingrad into a hellish battlefield where every building, street, and factory became a deadly zone. The Soviet Union's determined resistance against the German Sixth Army was marked by bitter hand-to-hand combat, relentless artillery barrages, and a harrowing winter siege. The Soviets' eventual encirclement of the German forces, led by General Paulus, marked a turning point in the war on the Eastern Front, breaking the back of the Nazi war machine and signaling a relentless Soviet advance towards Berlin. 2. Battle of the Somme, 1916. The Battle of the Somme, one of the most infamous battles of World War I, epitomizes the devastating toll of trench warfare. Over 1 million men were killed or wounded in the course of this grueling 5-month battle. On the first day alone, the British Army suffered an unprecedented 57,000 casualties, making it the bloodiest day in British military history. Soldiers endured relentless artillery bombardments, machine gun fire, and the nightmarish conditions of the trenches. The introduction of tanks on the battlefield provided a glimpse into future warfare, but their initial deployment was fraught with mechanical failures. The Somme became a symbol of the futility and horror of war, forever etched in the collective memory of the nations involved. 3. Battle of Okinawa, 1945. The Battle of Okinawa, fought in the closing days of World War II, was one of the bloodiest and most desperate confrontations in the Pacific theater. With over 200,000 casualties, including a significant number of civilians, this battle highlighted the ferocity of the Japanese defense and the heavy toll of the American offensive. The Japanese forces employed kamikaze attacks, fierce ground resistance, and a network of fortified positions that turned the island into a deadly maze. The battle's brutal fighting, coupled with the horrific civilian losses, underscored the devastating human cost of war and foreshadowed the potential bloodshed of a mainland invasion, influencing the decision to use atomic bombs on Hiroshima and Nagasaki. 4. Battle of Gettysburg, 1863. The Battle of Gettysburg, a pivotal encounter in the American Civil War, resulted in approximately 51,000 casualties over 3 days of intense combat. Fought in the rolling hills and fields of Pennsylvania, this battle marked the furthest advance of Confederate forces into the North. General Robert E. Lee's ambitious plan to strike a decisive blow against the Union was met with fierce resistance by the Army of the Potomac, led by General George Meade. Iconic moments, such as Pickett's charge and the defense of Little Round Top, have become legendary. The Union's victory at Gettysburg halted Lee's invasion and set the stage for President Abraham Lincoln's Gettysburg Address, a profound speech that redefined the purpose of the war and the meaning of American democracy. 5. Battle of Verdun, 1916. The Battle of Verdun, one of World War I's longest and most grueling engagements, saw around 700,000 casualties over 10 months of relentless fighting. The German strategy, masterminded by General Erich von Falkenhayn, aimed to bleed France white by drawing the French into a prolonged and attritional battle. Verdun, a symbol of French national pride, was fiercely defended by the French army under General Philippe Pétain. The battle's grueling conditions, characterized by incessant artillery bombardments, mud, and the ever-present threat of gas attacks, pushed soldiers to the limits of human endurance. Verdun became a testament to the resilience and determination of the French spirit, with the phrase, "Ils ne passeront pas," they shall not pass, encapsulating the defenders' resolve. 6. Battle of the Bulge, 1944–1945. The Battle of the Bulge was the last major German offensive on the Western Front during World War II, resulting in about 185,000 casualties. Launched through the dense Ardennes forest, this surprise attack aimed to split the Allied lines and capture the vital Belgian port of Antwerp. The initial German advance created a bulge in the Allied front lines, leading to intense and bitter fighting in freezing winter conditions. American forces, including the legendary 101st Airborne Division at Bastogne, held key positions despite being surrounded and outnumbered. The tenacity and resilience of the American troops, along with the eventual arrival of reinforcements, turned the tide, leading to a decisive Allied victory that paved the way for the final push into Germany. 7. Battle of Kursk, 1943. The Battle of Kursk, known as the largest tank battle in history, involved nearly 2 million soldiers and over 6,000 tanks and aircraft, resulting in over 1 million casualties. This epic confrontation on the Eastern Front saw Nazi Germany attempting to regain the initiative against the Soviet Union. The Soviets, forewarned by intelligence, fortified their positions with extensive minefields, anti-tank defenses, and deep trenches. The battle's climax at Prokhorovka featured massive tank clashes that turned the fields into a fiery cauldron of destruction. The Soviet victory at Kursk marked a significant turning point, as the Red Army seized the strategic initiative and began its relentless advance towards Berlin, crushing the remnants of German offensive power. 8. Battle of Leipzig, 1813. Also known as the Battle of Nations, the Battle of Leipzig was one of the largest and bloodiest conflicts of the Napoleonic Wars, involving over 600,000 soldiers from multiple nations and resulting in approximately 127,000 casualties. This decisive defeat for Napoleon Bonaparte saw the combined forces of Austria, Prussia, Russia, and Sweden clash with the French Grande Armée. Over 4 days of intense combat, Napoleon's forces were overwhelmed by the sheer numerical superiority of the Allies. The battle's outcome marked the beginning of the end for Napoleon's empire, leading to his retreat from Germany and eventual exile. The sheer scale and ferocity of Leipzig made it a harbinger of the massive, multinational conflicts that would characterize future European wars. 9. Battle of Moscow, 1941–1942. The Battle of Moscow was a critical engagement on the Eastern Front of World War II, resulting in nearly 1 million casualties. As the German Wehrmacht launched Operation Barbarossa, their advance towards the Soviet capital seemed unstoppable. However, the fierce Soviet resistance, harsh winter conditions, and overextended German supply lines halted the invasion at the gates of Moscow. The Soviet counteroffensive, launched in December 1941, pushed the German forces back, marking the first major defeat for Hitler's armies. This battle demonstrated the resilience and determination of the Soviet people and the Red Army, setting the stage for the long and grueling conflict that would eventually lead to the downfall of Nazi Germany. 10. Battle of Antietam, 1862. Known as the bloodiest single day in American history, the Battle of Antietam saw around 23,000 casualties within a mere 24 hours. Fought along Antietam Creek in Maryland, this pivotal Civil War battle pitted General Robert E. Lee's Confederate Army against General George McClellan's Union forces. The intense and chaotic fighting at locations such as the Cornfield, Bloody Lane, and Burnside's Bridge left a lasting impression on the American psyche. Despite the horrific losses, the Union's tactical victory provided President Abraham Lincoln with the political momentum needed to issue the Emancipation Proclamation, transforming the war's purpose into a fight for freedom and altering the course of American history. 11. Battle of Leningrad, 1941–1944. The Siege of Leningrad, one of the longest and most destructive sieges in history, lasted 872 days and resulted in over 1 million casualties, predominantly civilians. The relentless German blockade aimed to starve the city into submission, cutting off all supply routes and bombarding it incessantly. The residents of Leningrad endured unimaginable hardships, including severe famine, harsh winters, and constant shelling. Despite these conditions, the city's defenders and inhabitants displayed remarkable resilience, maintaining a defiant spirit throughout the siege. The eventual Soviet breakthrough and lifting of the siege in January 1944 became a symbol of Soviet endurance and the determination to resist Nazi tyranny, leaving an indelible mark on the collective memory of Russia. 12. Battle of Berlin, 1945. The Battle of Berlin, the final major offensive of the European theater of World War II, saw the Soviet Union's Red Army encircle and capture the German capital, resulting in around 1 million casualties. This brutal and chaotic battle marked the culmination of years of relentless warfare on the Eastern Front. Soviet forces, commanded by Marshals Zhukov and Konev, launched a massive assault, overwhelming the remnants of the German Wehrmacht and hastening the collapse of the Third Reich. The intense urban combat turned Berlin into a scene of devastation, with desperate house-to-house fighting and significant civilian suffering. The fall of Berlin led to Adolf Hitler's suicide and the unconditional surrender of Germany, bringing an end to the war in Europe and setting the stage for the post-war reconstruction and geopolitical reshaping of the continent. These battles, with their staggering casualties, remind us of the devastating impact of war. They also highlight the resilience and bravery of those who fought and endured unimaginable hardships. As we remember these events, let's strive for a future where such conflicts are a thing of the past. Thank you for watching. If you found this video informative and engaging, please give it a thumbs up and share it with others who might be interested. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and hit the bell icon so you never miss an update. Leave a comment below on which battle you found most surprising or any other battles you think should have made the list. Until next time, stay curious and stay informed.